Enter the world of Sirius Fight Club.
BJ Penn here in the Fight Club. You change diapers the way you change weight divisions. Why not? We're going to put on about 70 pounds on you. You're fighting Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Kind of knee him when he shoots in. Stay away from his right hand. Because he can punch, man. Brock can punch. You know, I give him a lot of credit for what he did with Randy. If Brock goes out and he beats Minotauro, there's no doubt in my mind that he's the #1 fighter in the world.
Better than Fedor.
You know, he beat Minotauro. I mean, he beat Minotauro and Randy. How can you not give him that? You know, how can you not give him that right now? That, you know, if he isn't above Fedor, they're side by side. If he can beat Minotauro, but then again, Frank Mir's still got to fight Minotauro.
Joining us is Eddie Bravo. Helio Gracie, we just lost him a few days ago, 95 years old. He had this vision, basically, of where the UFC is right now. The guy was a total visionary.
Even though I never trained under him, I was affected by him. Everybody that's trained in jiu-jitsu, they've all been affected. He was the Grand Master. He's the one who started it all. You know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Helio Gracie.
Frank Mir.
It seems like you're the only guy in the sport that actually attacks a submission. Is that from your roots?
Yeah, that's from the mentality of Kimpo. I think a lot of guys come from more the sport grappling background. They have that, well, I'll win by points and pass your guard and control you. And that works. I guess you win points that way. But to me, I've always had that mentality like, oh, yeah, but, you know, you get in a fight in the parking lot. What does it matter if you take someone down and you pass their guard and hold them there for 5 minutes? That has no functional value in the real world. And I just don't like that tactic. Because to me, it's like you're just trying to win on point.
Jake Shields. Things just seem to be going so well for Elite XC, Jake Shields and everything. And all of a sudden, you know, Elite XC fell apart. How frustrating was it for you?
Yeah, I was frustrated. I was the champ. I was trying to get ready to fight again. Next thing you know, they went under. But it wasn't totally surprised because there was a lot of rumors going around a month or two before. So it is what it is. Maybe in the long run, it'll turn out to be a better situation.
Jens Pulver on the air.
You've evolved in the sport. You're no longer known as just a fighter. You're a trainer. You're a teacher.
I think I'm getting to that point where it isn't about the fighting. I've always wanted to be known for how I was outside the cage. I never was the greatest athlete. I never was the greatest fighter. I was more about being remembered before the fight and after the fight.
John Bones Jones. John, was there anybody who inspired you as you started in the sport?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Anderson Silva, I try to imitate. I watched a lot of his fights. And yeah, man, the guy's a beast. He's probably the only guy that I wouldn't accept to fight just because, you know, I have so much respect for that guy and I look up to him a lot.
Lyoto Machida.
The person that's going to beat Brock Lesnar isn't anybody that currently exists in the heavyweight division. It's you. Would you like to fight Brock Lesnar?
Você gostaria de lutar com Brock Lesnar se te der a oportunidade? I would like to fight him because Brock Lesnar is a champion. I beat up Brock Lesnar. He can't fight me.
Nate the Great Marquardt, you said something in the octagon that night, and you said, when I fought him, that wasn't me in there. You're going to see the real me. Why wasn't it you that night against Anderson Silva?
I think at that time, I kind of started fighting in order to not lose. Now, when I go in there, I'm going for the knockout. I'm going to hurt the guy, and I'm a lot more dangerous now.
The American Psycho, Stefan Bonner. BJ Penn against GSP. Any thoughts on that one?
In the first fight, BJ Penn standing there with not a mark on his face, and then GSP looks like the Elephant Man. They raised GSP's arm. In this fight, I just want to see a tooth and nail fight. I think it has the potential to be that kind of fight.
Bobby Lashley, welcome to the Fight Club.
When did you make the decision that you were going to leave the WWE and become a professional mixed martial artist?
Coming off a bit of an injury in the WWE, and things were just up in the air. I really wanted to pursue the MMA career. I was training hard, I was rehabbing, and I felt good, and I was in great shape, and I thought that was a good time to switch over.
Boss Rutan.
Whether the current fighters like to admit that or not, Kimbo Slice, the fact that he's getting this kind of publicity, PTI, Jimmy Kimmel, can only be good.
What does he do wrong? Does he behave outside the sport like an animal? No, he doesn't. I can understand. It's jealousy, you know. They fought their whole life to be
has the spot where Kimbo is right now.
Brett Rogers.
You may have been the first guy out there to say, Kimbo's slice is nothing. Don't you wish it was you doing that to him and not Seth?
There's no secret about that, man, of course. I just have to look at it in a respectful way. Them saying that, no, Brett, I don't want you to fight this guy because we know that you're going to whoop his ass, you know what I'm saying? So I try to tell myself that and just try to move on.
Clay Guida.
Every 155er, they get kicked like that, they don't get up. Was that the kick that made you forget everything?
I only remember a minute of the fight combined. I remember getting him kicking me. I remember getting a takedown off of that. I remember him uppercutting me, and I remember him elbowing me off of his back when he was trying to come over at the end. That was all I remember.
Eddie Alvarez, they call him the silent assassin.
You're not some no-name guy anymore. If it's not in the UFC, there's so many great matches for you.
That's a big part of why I believe we haven't gone to the UFC yet, because I'm young and I want to fight like 6 times a year. So I don't think signing with the UFC is going to allow me to do that. It's better for me to spread myself out.
Forrest Griffin.
Randy is actually the guy that banned mixed martial arts in New York.
I can see that. When I first saw the UFC, it was not a thing that I wanted to do. And then like 10 years later, I saw UFC 13 when Randy Couture fought Vitor Belfort. It was the first time I realized these guys were athletes. It was a sport, not a spectacle.
Smoking Joe Frazier. I almost put together a meeting with you and Muhammad Ali because he has told me he is deeply, deeply sorry for anything he's ever done to you. Can it be done?
I don't see no reason why I shouldn't. I don't have no problem with him. Give him a call to my manager. I don't have no problem at all about that. And see if he can hook something up.
The UFC Hall of Famer, Ken Shamrock.
Are your knees to the point where you're able to move side to side and you're able to use full power in trying to take guys down like Kimbo?
Absolutely, and that's one thing that's really changed in my game plan. I'm very capable of firing out shots right now. If you were to take anything in my game that has failed me over the last couple fights, that would be it.
Ken Florian, welcome to the Fight Club. In this sport, we're now talking about Greasegate. Did this, in your opinion, affect the outcome of the fight with GSP and BJ?
I don't believe so. You know, I think that if GSP were to grease and put it all over him, I think it would actually hurt him in many ways, considering his game plan really was to grapple.
Mike Goldberg.
Talking about Brock being the villain. Dana was doing whatever he could to get Fedor Emelianenko into the UFC.
Absolutely, and the thing about it is we were all excited about the possibility of Fedor and Randy, but now that you look at it, I can guarantee you it'll do 10 times the numbers when Brock and Fedor meet inside the octagon.
We have been talking to Rashad Evans.
Since the day you began, Rashad, people have been counting you out. What do you have to say to all of us?
I gotta say, just keep doubting me, because you guys are my motivation. You motivate me every time somebody tells me what I can't do. And when people doubt me, it just makes me stronger, and I pay attention. And every time I feel like not doing something, I go ahead and do it anyways.
Thiago Alves, welcome to the Fight Club.
Do you believe that this Josh Koscheck fight now puts you in a position for a title, or are you just looking to fight whoever Dana puts in front of you?
I believe so. I mean, I hope so. That was the plan before fight got switched. Koscheck is a really, really top fighter, so I don't see no reason to not get a title shot. We're gonna figure out what we're gonna do for the next fight.
Tito Ortiz.
You are going to fight again. Would you fight for the UFC and Dana White?
I will never fight for Dana White, no. You could hold me to that. Respect holds higher than any amount of dollar at all. Now, if Dana wasn't president of the UFC, there's a possibility. I mean, I was a street thug kid who grew up with gangs, and I grew out of that. And respect has always stuck there no matter what.
Join the Fight Club revolution.
The Tap Out Boys.
Yeah. In the house.
Here we go.
How you do?
Mask, punk ass,
and skyscrapers.
It was so hard.
I
mean, you guys started selling T-shirts out of your car, right?
Yeah. Man, you know what? It's amazing. And with us, and I don't know what this sounds like, but at the same time, we see it getting so big and so amazing, and everybody knows what UFC and WC and the sport of mixed martial arts is. At the same time, we're so trying to be visionaries and take it to the next level. Sometimes I think, you know, like Scrape had actually noticed it last night and was saying, man, look at Forrest and Rampage up there, center stage. And in my mind, I don't know, maybe it's a bad thing, but I'm always seeing like, where can we get it to next? And da-da-da, and, you know, trying to be visionary and continue down the yellow brick road. We got to get to Oz. And at the same time.
Dana White, UFC president. All right, now I got to ask you, I'd probably get in a lot of trouble if I didn't. Fedor, how pissed are you?
Right. You know what, to be honest with you, after we tried to do that deal with him 2 days after, I was miserable, you know, and now I'm over it. Fuck it. You know, you don't want to fight the best in the world. What can I do? I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to make the guy try to come in and fight the best in the world? He doesn't want to do it. Obviously, you know, it wasn't about the contract, wasn't about the money, wasn't about anything. He just doesn't want to do it. So what am I going to do?
It's a good point. You know, you can't make the guy do something, and obviously they just want to ruin the sport. Those guys over there at M1.
And here's the thing too. You know, the fact that this guy's even getting any attention, he hasn't fought one of the best fighters in the world since like 2005. It's almost 2010. When you look at the guys that were up on this podium today and the guys that fight in the UFC, they consistently fight the best in the world 3 times a year. These guys deserve the respect and the credit, not that idiot.
Thank you to Fight Club Nation for making Sirius Fight Club possible.
Andre, Texas.
I tried to get out of work as soon as I could so I could turn the show on.
Brad, Indiana.
I can't think of anything better than having Sirius Fight Club 210 times a year.
Frank, California.
You guys are a great show, and you guys are the only people that we get to really express our feelings
Jimmy,
to.
Phoenix.
MMA took over my life. Anything I can petition or do, man, I need you guys 5 days a week.
Sirius Fight Club. Tuesdays and Fridays from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern on Sirius Channel 127.
Nick, New York.
Let me tell you something. It's a pleasure listening to you guys. I rush out of work every Tuesday, every Friday, just to hear you guys.
Jaws, St. Louis.
I've been chomping at the bit all afternoon waiting for 4 o'clock to hit so I can listen to you guys.
Rich, Long Island.
The best damn MMA show on radio right now. You guys are doing an awesome job. I love the show. Thanks for being my best friends here on Tuesday and Friday.